Guys, we have a new developer's note in Summoner's War, and oh my god, these are the most overpowered bosses I've ever seen. And also they require you to use probably things that we don't normally build, which is really cool. Especially a few of the buff things. We saw like 30% of this stuff in the last video. We saw like who the mid bosses are. We saw like a little bit of the rune effects. We saw, but we see a little bit more in this developer's note though. They kind of fleshed out what they were talking about in the press conference here in this developer's note. Things to keep in mind. There's 3 different levels of difficulty. I'm pretty sure the hardest one is going to be super hard, right? But think about it like as far as the raids, right? R1 is like you can beat R1 if you got some weird stuff. You're like, I don't have great stuff, but I could beat R1. R2, R3, you're like, okay, I could beat that. R5, it's like you gotta kind of like build a team. You need a specific team synergy. Only like not every unit is even gonna work in R5. You need like a specific handful of units. They need to be somewhat, a few of them need to be somewhat grinded in the first place. So anyway, keep that in mind when you're going into this, like when you're looking at some of these things. You're like, okay, I will be using the normal difficulty and working my way up so that in 5 years I can finally beat the ridiculous difficulty. Because some of this looks pretty, challenging. Okay, let's see more about it. Okay, we saw basically the mid bosses. These are the mid bosses and then the end boss as well. We talked about it in the last video, basically, but holy crap. Kodo's fire tribute, aggressive guardian who attacks with swords in both hands, grants continuous damage when attacking. We saw stuff like that. Additional damage proportion to max HP based on a number of continuous damage effects granted on the enemies who are under continuous damage. So, here we go. Magical Flame Sword attacks 2 times continuous damage for 2 turns, 50% chance. Additional damage, 5% of the enemy's max HP per continuous. This is, think about this like Dragon's B10, okay? Magical Flame Sword, nothing crazy like Dragon's B10, right? Like the left tower, it puts the dots on, and then the dragon does more damage based on the amount of dots. Okay, nothing too crazy yet. Immemorial Magic Power Revenge. Counterattacks with Magical Flame Sword whenever attacked by an enemy. 100% chance to counterattack, right? So every time you attack him, counter. Every time you counter. Immemorial Magic Power Violent. Additionally, attacks with Magical Flame Sword after attacking. From what I understand, this is a 100% additional turn. It's not a like 22% chance. It's 100% chance, but they can only do it once, right? He's got the violent rune. Okay, if you didn't see the other video, these towers basically give him extra effects, right? They give him like the power to violent proc. They give him the power to 100% chance, so it's guaranteed proc, additional turn, and then the power to revenge. So if you can choose to kill these towers first if you want. Otherwise you're gonna get revenge every time you hit him. So we have that. Instantly defeats all enemies. Immemorial Rage. So if he's granted with the rage skill, if one of the towers imbues him with the rage effect, he instantly defeats all enemies under continuous damage. So you get dots on, he moves, everyone that has a dot on is dead. What? Okay, that's okay. I mean, now we understand why in the press conference that they had, it's like Perna, Eladriel, Brian need a lot of revivers. Okay, and then you're like, okay, well I'll just bring immunity. We've got, I think there's something to the other one goes through immunity. The other guy goes through immunity. But you could bring immunity here. I think. Removes all harmful effects you grant on yourself, becomes immune to harmful effects when absorbing. Okay. So we've got the will effect as well. Ridiculous. I think just the rage seems very scary. Seems very, very scary. But you don't know how much, like, you don't know what the stats are going to be at normal level and at, like, insane super hard level. So, I mean, we'll see. But instantly defeats all enemies. Seems like those words scare me. We got Guardian of Labyrinth passive. Attacks an enemy with Magical Flame Sword whenever your HP decreases by 25%. So kind of like the R5 boss. 25% down, and he doesn't attack. R5, like the raid bosses, every time you get 25% of their HP down, they do a big attack. Absorbs all magic powers, attacks with enhanced effect when an immemorial magic power exists. Additionally, weakens the effects of the attack that are proportional to HP. Again, like R5, where if you bring like Lin or Sigmaris, or no one brings Lin, Sigmaris into R5. But if you were to, it wouldn't do as much damage as it does. The effect the attacks that are based on max HP do not work. If you guys didn't already know that, they don't work the same in R5 in Rift of Worlds. So this is something we already kind of see. Immemorial Time passive. This is something that's different. Gains attack bar whenever an enemy's turn ends, and gains more attack bar when there are fewer enemies. So violent procs, not working in your favor, right? Doesn't get affected by attack bar change skill effects. So Hua, not gonna be great here. Hua's not gonna be able to do really anything. Who else? Well, other things have attack bar change skill effects as well, but it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary. So I was looking at one of my friends gave some input on this. He said big non-scaling damage and speed buffs. Water Chimera, Kali, Water Bounty Hunter is the stuff that he would use for. I think I could see that. I could see that as being it's just scary. Scary. I mean, it looks like something you have to like try and nuke, but you have to like. But see, he gains attack bar whenever an enemy turn ends, though. So if you try to get a lot of turns, he's just gonna gain attack bar anyway. So I'm not sure if that would even work, though. That's scary. I feel like, would Revenge runes be like really good in this one, right? Because whenever an enemy turn ends, like, you don't actually get a turn, right? I think Drunken Masters are gonna be nice here because they get the additional attack without needing a violent proc. They get. It's not an extra turn, they just attack again. So I think I think it's mostly like getting the most out of your turns. So it's not about like outspeeding and reducing the enemy attack gauge like in Dragons and stuff like that. It's about like you need to make the most possible out of your attacks. And I feel like Revenge, although continuous damage is really scary. But you can do immunity, though. You can do it. From what I understand, you can do immunity here. So I guess immunity is super important. So, build immunity and make your attacks count. That's what I'm seeing anyway for here. Okay, anyway. On to the water one. Leos, water attribute. Giant two-handed hammer to attack. Basic skill of attacking all enemies with the giant hammer. Freeze them with fixed chance. Okay. Magical frost hammer. Here we go. Freezes for 2 turns, 35% chance. I think that things like the Fire Monkey, the Light Jack-o'-lantern, the Josephine's going to be really strong here. Effects you grant on the enemies when attacking will be resisted, and ignore immunity. So immunity is off the table here. Doesn't matter. Wusa, Veligil, doesn't matter. Ignores immunity, right? Only when we have the focus, though. When we have the focus immunity. Like, it doesn't ignore immunity if they don't have the focus as one of these towers. So remember, we can only have 2 of these towers at any time. So, Despair Focus, Rage Will, the Rage... I guess, can you do Rage Despair? It's not like runes, it's... You don't need like this set effect, it's like, it's just 1 and 1. So I guess you could do like Despair Rage. Anyway, affect you... Ignore immunity, right. Increase the chance of Magical Frost Hammer granting freeze. So I feel like Cleanse is going to be really strong here, right? If you continually freeze, and things that are immune to also the water. You know what's gonna be great here is the water Lich. Instantly defeats all frozen enemies when attacking. All frozen enemies. Oh my god! Instantly defeats. That's crazy. This is just crazy to see. Maybe it's not gonna be as crazy, but man, if they get froze, and then you try to get extra turns, and then he keeps gaining attack bar when you're trying to get those extra turns. You're like, I need my cleanser, I need my cleanser, I need my cleanser, and he's like, nope, my turn. Instantly defeats all enemies. I mean, you need to be imbued with the rage though, the rage tower. But damn, removes all harmful effects from anti yourself, becomes immune to harmful effects when absorbing. Okay, removes harmful effects and immune to harmful effects when absorbing the immortal magic power. So if you want to put harmful effects on them, you have to beat the tower, whatever tower it is. You have to beat the tower that because you can choose to attack the towers. Like I said before, you can choose to attack the towers first instead of the boss first, and then the boss becomes easier after you attack the tower. So I feel like maybe a lot of time people are gonna go for towers first. I think that maybe they want people to go for the towers first. But man, that's crazy. But here's another thing. Are they working on new units to counter some of these bosses that you're gonna have to summon for these new units? Let's hope so. I kind of hope they do. Is it the dick of me to hope that they release new units so that we have to spend more money and summon? No, because it's like, I don't know. Maybe, probably. I'm always a dick. Anyway. I mean, that's crazy. Lots of CC. So everything that's gonna be anti-CC. Raccoony. Right? Actually, Raccoony would be good here, wouldn't he? I feel like Raccoony would be good here. With Raccoony's Raccooniness. So attacks whenever your HP decreases by 25%. We already saw. Weakens the effective attack portion to... We already talked about this. And then Immemorial Time passive. So both of these, Guardian of Labyrinth passive and Immemorial Time passive, are going to be things that all of them have. The mid-bosses, like the mini-bosses, and the end boss. Is just crazy. It's crazy. So Vertiheal Hua is basically off the table. Off the table, doesn't even matter. Oh man. Okay. What do we have? Gilly's Wind Attribute. Like I said, we already saw like some of this stuff, but we see a little bit more fleshed out right now. One-handed blunt weapon shield, granted with the most defensive characteristic. It has basic skill of attacking all enemies with a one-handed weapon and drains the damage dealt. So, we might want to put, like, a heal block on him, right? Right? That's gotta work, maybe. Attacks all enemies, recovers HP as much as they inflict damage with the magical vampire blunt weapon. And then we have... And that's just his regular skill. Creates a shield equivalent to 15% of the max HP for one turn when attacked from enemies. So, we need to do enough damage to burst through that shield. 15% of max HP for one turn. So, do you take in things like the, what is it, the wind chakram boomerangs? One of them does ignore shields, right? Ignore shields, ignores invincibility and stuff like that. And then also the Dark Neostone Fighter does that as well. Who else does that? Doesn't the Dark Cowgirl do that as well? Like ignores damage reduction effects. So, and that's what they're talking about. They're talking about shields and invincibility when they're saying damage reduction effects. So, so I think that would be something to take in against that, right? Destroys enemies max HP for 50% of the damage dealt to the enemy. Now, my friend, also shout out to Dropkick. That's the one that was giving me his thoughts on this. He said shielding units and healing based off attack power, like Fire Sky Dancer, Wind Unicorn, Kamoon, Ravidi, are going to be nice here. I think he's kind of on with the shields. I think shields are going to be really strong here because attacks enemies, recovers the HP as much as the inflicted damage, and destroys enemies max HP by 50% of the damage dealt. When you have shields on, it's not going to destroy that much. It's not going to recover that much as well. So I think that could be something really good to take into consideration here. And then also things that ignore the damage reduction effects like this. I think that's gonna be the thing to bring here. Instantly defeats the enemy with the lowest max HP and recovers your HP 100%. What? Oh my god! Instantly defeats the lowest max HP. Okay. And recovers HP by 100%. That's scary. Rage, but he needs to have the rage. He needs to have the rage imbued on him for that to work, though. So, again, keep in mind that he needs to have what if you destroy the towers, it's going to be not as crazy. Removes all harmful effects. Grant on yourself and becomes immune to harmful effects when absorbing. So, I feel like we gotta get that heal block, right? Heal block would be great here. But we gotta also take into consideration this will. We gotta try to maybe destroy that beforehand. So, and then again, Guardian Lather. It's just, here's the thing. Like I said already, Vertiheal Hua, stuff like that, not gonna work as well. It's about making your attacks count. It's less about outspeed, reduce enemy attack gauge, try to get as many turns as possible to their future. And it's about like making sure every single attack that you get, every single turn you get is valuable. You need to get the most value out of every turn. So I think that's the most to take from this. It's less about speedy, outspeed, violent proc. and more about get the most out of every turn that you get. Final boss, Tartarus. This guy just looks insane. Like, unlike the Guardians of the Labyrinth that use different weapons, Tartarus rather uses giant hands and powerful breath to attack. Okay, so he's got the... he looks just like... he's like everyone in himself. Okay. Attacks enemies, increases damage dealt by 30% per weakening effect granted on the enemies. Increases damage per weakening effect, so try not to get weakening effects, right? Grants an additional effect on the enemies according to the rune pattern. Destroy enemies max HP. Instantly defeats an enemy who inflicted the most damage on you. So instantly defeats an enemy. That's kind of like the same one that the wind one has, right? Instantly defeats an enemy who inflicted the most damage on you. He's probably going to be the one with the lowest HP. Because if you look at this, this is going to have this is going to be the one with the lowest max HP. Most likely going to be the one that does the most damage to you. So keep that in mind. Just craziness. Attacks all enemies. Rage blow. Attacks all enemies. Decreases one enemy's attack bar to 0. Grants additional effect of the enemies according to the rune pattern. Decreases one enemy's attack gauge to 0. Okay, that's not that bad, right? It's not like instantly kills them. Then we have stuns 2 enemies with the lowest attack bar for 1 turn when attacking. 2 enemies. Instantly defeats enemy who inflicted the most damage on you when I mean, like, just... so many skills in one. Attacks all enemies ruthlessly, inflicts damage, ignores all damage reduction effects. So, remember those shields that we said were good in the other one? In the wind one? Wusa, doesn't matter. None of the shields matter. Okay, invincibility, that doesn't matter either. Big collapse, attacks the enemies randomly 3 times. Attack enemies will be granted to have low HP. Guaranteed to have low HP, I'm sorry. Use this skill instead of Ruthless Strike when the patterns on both arms are destroyed. Okay. So you kill the other arms first, and then he uses this instead of Ruthless. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. So, guaranteed to have low HP. That's kind of like a nuke, and then... GG, he finishes you off after that. Attacks enemies 3 times to remove beneficial effects by 50% chance, and puts them in Oblivion and Silence. So, hey guys. Hey, hold on. Did you have those passives that cleanse? Nope. Did you have those... units that nope. You know who's great here? A Chroma would probably be great. You know, a Chroma's probably just gonna die anyway. So all your units that have any skills or any passives, none of them like this is the one that looks insane. Remove beneficial effects, Oblivion and Silence. Grants additional effect on the enemies according to the rune pattern. Instantly defeats enemy who inflict the most damage, and then attacks 1 more time with Immortal Breath after attacking if he's on Violent. So, if that's the rune pattern that he's got, and then of course, Immortal Time, same thing, right? Wavert heal, stuff like that doesn't even matter. Attacks all enemies, stuns them. Rule of the Labyrinth, stuns them for 1 turn, 50% chance, increase your attack power by 50% whenever your pattern gets destroyed. So, you try to destroy the arms, and he gets stronger. The enemies are overwhelmed by the ruler and can't attack any of Tartarus' attacks or inflict damage. Weakens damage that's proportional to HP. I mean, like, what do you... He basically says, hey guys, you know all of those monsters that you built for the past 4 years? No one can beat me. No one. Oblivion, Silence, Strip, everything. I mean, 50% chance to strip, though. So I feel like maybe... I mean, jeez. I keep thinking like, oh, well, maybe you just bring this, and maybe you bring that. Maybe like, God, like, he's just does a lot. He's gonna be challenging. He's gonna be challenging. Of course, a lot of the high-level players are gonna be like, oh, you know, we already got this figured out in the first day. When's the next patch? When's the next patch? Everyone in Malicious is gonna be like, yeah, I'm already done with that. Next, I guess just back to farming giants some more for 35 hours a day. It's okay. I'm in Malicious. I don't need... time does not matter to me. I get an extra 11 hours a day. It's fine. So anyway, oh my god. Oh, Jesus. This is too ridiculous. Maybe it just sounds crazier than it is. But, holy hell. This guy, like, the other ones look counterable. Like, okay, you counter it with this, you counter it with that, you counter it with this. But this guy, Tartarus. Dear Lord. But this is what, when R5 first came out, it looked like really challenging as well. And it was for a while. R5 was challenging. Even like the best players were like, oh, this is kind of tricky. And they had to like try out different things. And then the meta teams came in, like, oh, everyone figured out, and then everyone's like, oh, R5 is easy now, because we feel like it's so easy, bro. How do you not know how to beat it? Well, that's because people trial and error and trial and error and trial and error using all these different units, like, none of this works, none of this works, none of this works. Okay, let's try to figure out something that works. But, yeah. Anyway, it looks pretty cool. Okay, also there's, oh, what is this? One more important thing about Tartarus. The boss of the Labyrinth have a strong bond. Survival status as guardians will affect Tartarus. Stronger when they're alive. Okay. So, if you beat all the mid-bosses, he's going to become weaker. So, it's going to be maybe impossible to challenge him if you find him, like, first. Because he could be, I think from what I understand, he could be anywhere in the Labyrinth. So, you can find him first before the mid-bosses and probably not even be able to beat him. Be like, oh my god, he's just so crazy. Maybe beat the other mid-bosses first, like go through the other labyrinth and try to find them, and then come back to him, and then he's going to be easier. So, oh, so it literally just says it here. One of the great strategies we suggest, attack the guardians of the labyrinth first before challenging the mighty Tartarus. Unless, of course, you're malicious. Okay, there you go. We might, some content might change. And then they're going to show more about the regular stages as well. Because the regular stages are all different as well. So this is kind of fun. Like, you have to build all these different things to be able to complete all these different things. And it's great. I hope the rewards are going to be fun enough to make it worth it. So, they said they were going to be really strong rewards. So, oh my god. Raise the bar. Okay, guys. Anyway, that's it for this one. Hope you guys... I feel like half of this was like stuff that we already talked about, but now we get to see it a little bit more accurately. I'm sorry if it's a little bit redundant. So, I just wanted to go over this this new developer's note. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed it. I will see you as always in the next one.